And I'm delighted to say that we're being joined by the one and only Werner Herzog to talk about his new movie. Hello, Werner. Good afternoon.
Um, in fact, it is morning, but hello to you. Hello
Hello.
to the United Kingdom.
Where do we find you, Werner?
Los Angeles, I'm at home and disciplined and doing the essentials.
So when you say you're disciplined, are you observing the rules of the lockdown still?
Yes, because it's our only chance to somehow bring the sucker down, the virus, which we have to meet with a clear attitude. It cannot feed on us if we duck in the trenches. So the most defensive attitude is the most aggressive against the virus. So
And
it needs discipline and it needs a new attitude and needs understanding of numbers that we are not accustomed to in our everyday lives. We meet one person, two persons, three persons in the street. But here, all of a sudden, what happens is all of a sudden we meet 16 at once, and then number 17 is not the next number, but number 32. 32 are coming at us. And then the next bunch of people is not 33, but 64, 128. And within a few days, we are up into the millions, a geometric progression.
yes.
And it's hard to understand, so we have to retrain our thinking a little bit.
And just before we want to talk about Family Romance LLC, which is your movie, but just as a storyteller, movie maker, documentary maker, when you look at what's going on in the States, how can you just explain how has it become a political issue, whether you should wear a mask or not, in a way that it hasn't done elsewhere? It's become like a political statement whether you wear a mask. What's going on there?
Well, it's strange, and I think it is a mistake that it's politicized. Are you going to wear a mask or not? Apparently, Donald Trump only yesterday admonished his followers to wear masks. So it's erratic what is happening. Sometimes you hear statements very clearly and contradictions to it within an hour or so. So you have to make up your own mind. You have to be observant. You have to look out what is going on, what is fake news, what is disproportionate sort of activity in terms of the elections that are looming.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there are elections out, and that's not good for fighting the virus.
All of which makes your movie Family Romance a million miles away from what we've been talking. But here it comes. It's the new Werner Herzog movie. So a lot of people very interested in this Family Romance LLC. Introduce us to what you have done here, Werner. How would you describe it?
It is a film about a young girl, 12-year-old, who lost her father when he divorced when she was only 1 year old. She doesn't remember him. And since she's longing for a father figure, her mother secretly hires an impersonator from a company, Family Romance LLC. And her father shows up and she becomes more and more confident and loves him. And it's going into an area where it becomes dangerous because she loves him. A twist of the story is that the mother of who rents the father also falls for him. But it points out to very existential, deep solitudes, and it shows a lot of other sequences, what leading character is doing. A company, Family Romance, actually exists, and they rent out friends if you're solitary, and you can have a great afternoon in the bar with them and take selfies for your feed on the social media, and you can replace a missing family member for a wedding and things like that. So it's a very intense film that points to solitudes and points to fake existences and fake news and lies and performative life and all these things. So has great actuality in a way.
Given that this company, as you say, Werner, does exist in Japan and they do rent people out
Yeah.
to families for all kinds of reasons, were you tempted at any stage to make it as a documentary?
No, it never was on the horizon. It's strange because when a film comes at me with great vehemence, I immediately see it, and I only saw it as a feature film, meaning with actors, with a screenplay, directed, rehearsed. You have to imagine if you do a feature documentary, for example, and you are filming a case of a young girl who does not even know that the man who is her father is playing a role only. So you would add potentially to a damage that is potentially out there.
But Werner, the central character is playing a version of himself. Ishiichi
Yes.
is indeed the mainstay of Family Romance LLC. So how close to home is he playing it? Is he a fictional character or is he a real character?
Well, he's a fictional character, and I never planned to have him as my leading character. I only asked him two things. One, tell me from your business life, your daily occurrences, and so. And he told me a lot of stories. I used hardly anything. I would say 85% of what you see in the film is my own invention, not based on real uh, occurrences and facts. Secondly, I asked him help me with casting, and we had two casting sessions, and it should be casting from the pool of his agents that he sends out. He had about 1,400 people who would impersonate, who would play roles whom he would send out. So there were experienced people, and we did casting. And during casting, he fed from behind the camera our potential actors with such intelligence and such warmth and such great performative quality that I said to him, I turned around and I said to him, Ishi's son, you have to be my leading character. And he said, "Oh, well, I'm not an actor. I'm not a movie star." And so I said, I'm a director and I know what I'm doing. So, of course, you will be a wonderful actor. And he's actually wonderful. And the girl, 12-year-old, I think she is world class.
There must have been many times, Werner, and I think the people who watch your movie will be watching this with astonishment. They know, as you say, we are watching a drama, but we know that this company exists and that it is possible to loan actors to imitate family members at funerals and weddings and so on. This is deeply strange. Do you find that, or
No, it is
no?
not.
Think
No,
it's
it's not
normal?
really. Yes, it is normal for us as well. We do it since more than a century at least, when we hire a babysitter impersonating or replacing a missing family member that's out to go to the movies or to the bar or whatever. We delegate. We delegate things to person that we hire. They are not family. For example, a prostitute is not your lover. She's rented for performing not deep feelings, but performing a biological need. So, and we delegate emotions to inanimate objects. Like in our childhood, we used dolls and we use teddy bears. And today you have dolls that speak to you. And robots will come more and more. My wife Lena has been at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and they showed her companion robots. It's going to be much bigger than industrial robots that do the car chassis in the factory. Today, it's companion robots, fluffy creatures, big eyes that read your emotions, and they see you are sad, and they try to cheer you up and tell you jokes, and they sing a song to you. And my wife said, she came in and she said, I'm not going to buy it. The creature, the fluffy, cute creature, reads her intentions, and she puts her head to the side and says very sweetly, "Ah, you don't trust me." And she says within 5 minutes she was hooked. So, so we do delegate, and it's coming big, big time at us. And because our societies are aging, it's coming big time at us as well. And because we are more isolated and solitary through the internet, it's coming big times at us.
Werner, one of the things that I wondered was, because you've made dramas and you've made documentaries, and because I knew that the central character was playing a character, but a character inspired by himself and using his own name. And whilst I was watching the film and thinking it feels like a documentary, but I know it's a drama, I wondered whether you had done that on purpose, because one of the central questions in the film is that our central character says, he asks himself, how real are these roles that I am playing? He
Yeah.
starts to experience real emotions. And it seemed to me that the form of the film was mirroring the form of the question that he had, which was, how real is this role that I am playing? And the film is kind of asking you to ask the same question.
Yes, it is. Of course, at the end, his confidant tells him, "Could it be that your own family is only hired by someone playing the roles of family?" But of course, we have to ask, and that's a deep plowing aspect. We are constantly asking ourselves, how much in a performative life do we live? Um, and of course, we are performative. You can see it when you look at YouTube, Facebook. It's performative representation of self. It's embellished. If it's a stylized self, you play roles when you are in military service. You play a role, a different one, when you speak to your children. You do play roles, and it's natural, and it's a concomitant of being in societies and being in cultures. Nothing wrong about it. But of course, today, the overwhelming onslaught of fake news, of falsehoods, of fraud, of cheating, much over the internet, by the way, that has to make us think and reassess our position.
I wondered if I just returning to the feeling queasy or a little bit uneasy whilst watching the film in a way that I'm sure you intended, which is as we watch our central character pretending to be the 12-year-old girl's father, and they're walking around the park. There's a scene where they bump into a younger girl who has been bullied, and they then all of them leave the park and they go to a tourist attraction and they go up a tower. And I'm thinking that's why I was thinking this is really strange. What about the
Yeah.
kids' parents? I'm feeling very uneasy about what I'm watching.
Yes, but you're watching a feature film, and the parents of this little black girl, 3.5 or 4 year old, were there, and they came to the casting sessions, and the girl was very sweet, and I had the feeling I should have something that qualifies um, our leading female character, the 12-year-old girl Mayo, better. She takes care of a girl that is ostracized, that is neglected, that has no friends. And I think the fact that it all looks so authentic to you is almost like a documentary and makes you queasy because of
Yes.
that, is a quality of the film, I think. I take it as a compliment. Mark, this is a compliment because it felt for you like as if it was real. And it's an achievement of dialogue. It's an achievement of stylization. It's achievement of filmmaking.
So, Werner, I want to ask you this. You're talking about performative roles, and some time ago, 2005, 2006, you and I did an interview. I know this is now passed into popular folklore, but we did an interview, and during the course of the interview, somebody randomly shot you with an air rifle. It happened on camera, and you barely flinched, and you insisted that we carried on the interview, although we carried it on back at your house. And I don't know whether you know this, but there is a whole conspiracy theory on the internet that we are acting, that you and I are acting that, and that you've got a little bit of explosives in your pocket, and that people have talked about that clearly the whole thing is a
Yeah.
setup. So,
Mark,
I mean,
Mark, do not make me laugh because the shot still hurts when I laugh very hard.
But it's interesting, isn't it?
Yes,
Because you know, people
yes.
thought you must be acting that, it can't be real.
Well, that's something that has happened quite often because I have had unusual situations in my life, and I have made unusual films. Moving a ship over a mountain must be some sort of a digital effect. No, it is not. It's a real ship over a mountain. And very funny, for example, Grizzly Man. Uh, some of the most intense material is a man, Timothy Treadwell, over 11 seasons in Alaska, films himself with bears, getting so close that he touches their face. I mean, gigantic, big, dangerous bears, and sings a song to them. On the internet, there was a massive response. This was all made in a digital studio. This cannot be true. It's all fake. It's all digital fabrication. So when something looks unusual and is out of the horizon of everyday events, it must be a fabrication. So me being shot must be a fabrication. But it is as it is. We cannot change that. People do not have much nexus with the real world in which we are living.
Yeah. Well, can I just say, Werner, I was there. I know it was real. I heard
Of
the
course,
shot.
and I was
I
there.
saw it
Yes.
go in. You know, yeah. And you've still got the hole to prove it.
There's no hole, but when my abdomen is strained hard, when, when I do a strange abrupt movement or when I laugh hard, it's still this this damn shot still hurts.
Uh, just before we lose you, Werner, I don't mean lose you, you know, from
Yeah,
life. I mean, Luvi, from this interview. You were
which
just
is
talking
going
about
to happen.
acting.
Yes,
Can I just say how much I enjoyed The Mandalorian and particularly your performance in it, which was just
thank you.
magnificent. I hope you enjoyed it because it looked as though it was great fun.
Yes, I enjoy everything that has to do with cinema, writing, directing, editing, you just name it, acting. And of course, as long as I'm within the demonology of the true villain, the quintessential villain, I'd always perform well.
What are you working on at the moment, Werner? What do we see from you next after
Well,
Family Romance LLC?
I have finished a new film together with Clive Oppenheimer from Cambridge University. We have done a film on volcanoes together. Now we did a film on meteorites, which is called Fireball: Visitors from Darker Worlds. And it will be shown probably in September at some festivals, probably Toronto Telluride, and it's on the Apple streaming platform. I assume that Apple is going to stream it towards the end of the year. We don't have a date yet. And I'm writing. I'm actually, since I cannot go out filming, I'm writing now.
Okay.
Werner, can I just ask you one final thing? Um,
Yes.
you your voice has now become one of the most recognizable voices. It's funny when you and I, you know, when I first had the privilege of interviewing you, and it was a great thrill for me because I'm a huge fan of your movies, and I knew then what your voice sounded like, but that was 15 years ago. You now have a voice that is so recognizable that you can do voice cameos in you know, major animation films. And in fact, one of the things about our show is that people come on the show and they do impressions of Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
What is it like having a voice that is, because I think that if you played your voice now, the most of the people would instantaneously know that's the voice of Werner Herzog. And I can't think of many filmmakers for whom that is the case.
It is true, but it is a long evolution to it. And it's not only the voice, it is the content. And for example, in the film on volcanoes, at the end, I'm saying something that you never can show and say on a film for National Geographic. I'm saying the magma, the boiling, glowing things are under us, under our entire planet, wanting to burst forth. But it's monumentally indifferent. And now it comes, it's monumentally indifferent to scurrying roaches, retarded reptiles, and vapid humans alike. So it's the content of it. And I enjoy what I'm saying, and people go for it. It's not only the voice.
Well, Werner, may people continue to go for it for many years. You are a force for good in a strange world, and it's always lovely to hear your voice.
Thank you very much. And all the best to your home, to your island, Man, the Isle of Man.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Werner. Thank you very much.
okay.
It's my birthday today, incidentally, Werner, so thank you very much.
Oh, congratulations. My
All
goodness,
right.
yes.
That's quite enough for
You
this.
should be at home on your island. Yeah.
Werner Herzog, thank you so much, and stay well, sir.
Thank you, and same to you.